Justin,
Yeah.
what's shaking, bacon?
What's shaking? Not a whole lot. I just watched Tom Brady win a 7th Super Bowl. I don't know if you know who that guy is or not,
I have no
but
clue. I have no clue. I was not born with the sports gene on any level, so my thing is just basically sitting home and trying to not order stuff on Amazon, but ending up ordering stuff on Amazon. It's that push pull. I'm like, there's a
did you ever
part.
see that South Park episode where it's Randy Marsh's wife just continues to order stuff and she doesn't remember ordering it, and he's like, "You ordered," and he figures out that like the Amazon guy's having an affair with everybody's wife.
No, I. Sounds good though. I love South Park sometimes. It's all right, but
It's a good one, all right.
but that brings me to this point about Amazon, which is there's this part of me that people are making money doing this Amazon stuff. I am not, but I would love to know how people do it. Do you? I remember one time you and I. This is how we operate. We went into a company because they were like, "Hey, you guys are marketers. Do you know how to do Amazon selling?" And both of us kind of looked at each other and were like, "Yes, absolutely, of course we do." And then as soon as we left, we were like, "Well, it looks like we're doing Linda tonight." But I appreciate doing that, but I also appreciate getting real experts on. Do you know anybody who might be able to help us with that particular?
Besides ourselves, yes, I happen to know somebody who's a lot more of a true expert, somebody with real experience instead of fake experience.
No way.
And should we talk to the guy?
I think that's a, as they say here in the Netherlands, that's a hoodie day. So let's bring that person on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Marketing Geeks.
Is that my intro? Should I say something?
If you want, they can't hear us. Our team is not playing right now.
On the live stream.
Don't talk yet. We can. Depending on where you are, depending on where you're listening to. Yes, it is the Marketing Geeks, ladies and gentlemen. Justin.
Yeah.
Tell us about our guest.
Yes. Today we are joined by Shannon Roddy, who is an Amazon expert, a speaker, and the founder of Marketplace Seller Courses. And he specializes in serving brand owners to help build their Amazon stores and profiles. So Shannon has consulted with over 120 clients to help them successfully launch, grow, and protect their brands on the Create Your Own automated PDFs with, oh my God. Let me take that from the top there. I apologize for that. Shannon has consulted with over 120 clients to help them successfully launch, grow, and protect their brands. And in addition to creating online courses for brand owners, Shannon provides one-on-one coaching for inventors and brand owners to leverage new opportunities on the Amazon platform. Please welcome to the show, Shannon Roddy.
Woo! Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
excited to have you here, and you got to experience some of the live Marketing Geeks where I copied over the wrong part of the bio right there. Had to read it, but it happens.
Stupid copy.
So first of all,
paste.
Shannon, I mentioned before you have a pretty short bio. Why don't you tell us a little bit more and fill in the gaps a little bit about what you do and how you help your customers?
Yeah, so I started consulting 8 years ago. I actually started with a web design company. My buddy Eric Koymans and I were working together, collaborating on a few projects. And my wife and I actually had temporarily moved to Africa. We moved to East Africa for about 15 months, came back, didn't have a job. Target wasn't really a great option at that point. And he said, look, start your own web design company. You could subcontract work for me and I'll help you. I'll help you do everything you need to be successful. And one of the first clients that we worked on together was a international apparel company that sold on Amazon. And one of my first tasks was to clean up the mess and optimize and help them launch. And so that was really the foray into it. But what I do now is I specialize in education. So there's 1,001 agencies out there that all claim to like help you just skyrocket your Amazon sales, and everybody's charging retainers. Obviously, that's how they make money. My goal is really to work with brands who say, you know what, we want to do this in-house. We want to understand it. We want to be able to have ownership of it. So we're not beholden to somebody else. And even if they use an agency, they often use our training so that they can at least have that high level understanding to ask the right questions, right? To be able to have those high level conversations with their agencies and feel like they're intelligibly informed, and to be able to hold them accountable. We've worked with a lot of companies that switched from agencies and started working with us. And we're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this wasn't being done correctly for all of this time, all these years. So it's really about exciting opportunities to empower brand owners, whether it's a solopreneur, an inventor who's created a single product, or a national, international brand. We worked with everything in between. And I absolutely love that, that empowerment aspect. That's a key aspect of our focus.
How long does it take you to be able to empower a brand to kind of go off on their own? So what kind of a timetable are we talking about where you come in, you work with a company, you're teaching them all the ins and outs of how to run Amazon successfully? What kind of how long are these consulting contracts usually for?
So it depends on how many products they have and how much of a mess things are. So a lot of the companies that we work with are in massive cleanup mode. So they've got unauthorized resellers, they've got listings that have gotten suppressed, they've got counterfeiters, they've got copycats, Me Too brands, knockoffs that are, advertising on their brand name. And so that's certainly an aspect of it. But a typical engagement for the initial front load is about 3 months, 2 to 3 months. And what I tell brands is 85% of your success is in the setup. And that's so important. So I'm like, look, I know you're going to be spending a lot of money up front. All my time is front loaded. But after that, you're going to pay me less as you make more. It's like the perfect win-win, because I kind of equate it to building a rocket, in the sense of you have to start by building the platform, the rocket platform. And if you don't have a good platform, the whole thing is going to crumble. So you got to make sure your infrastructure is there, all of your integrations, your fulfillment, your customer service. Then we talk about building the rocket. And that's the listing optimization, making sure that your photos are good, your SEO is there, your titles, your features, and your videos. And that's aiming the rocket is so important, because if you don't aim correctly, you're never going to achieve your goals. And we work with companies that have basically done the same level of sales for the last, 18 months, 22 months, however long. If you're not pointing the direction, you're never going to get to where you want to go. And the last part is launching the rocket. And that's the marketing part, right? That's the driving traffic, using advertising, off Amazon, social media, whatever. And those are the three aspects of, launching and growing and protecting your brand. Mm-hmm. But if you don't do that correctly, you're going to fail, or you're never going to achieve the true potential that your brand has on Amazon. But it's all front loaded. So the first 6 weeks is critical. That's like the massive cleanup. And then there's just this slow phase of empowerment, of getting the customer service pieces in place, optimizing the listings, figuring out the advertising, and to be honest, Justin, every brand is going to have a unique story. They're going to have to figure out their journey. It's not copy and paste. It's not like, oh, you look at what your top competitor's doing and you just copy everything they're doing. It's not going to work. You got to figure out your messaging, your audience, what keywords work for you. And sometimes that journey takes longer for some brands than others. But if you figure it out, oh my gosh, it's a game changer.
Ditching down.
I got a question. I got a question here about because I'm always big into email marketing, and because you're on Amazon, I don't have that much experience working on Amazon. So I'm kind of curious how you go about like retention marketing for these customers, bringing them back over and over again, if that's the type of product or service that you're working with. But let's say you're selling on Amazon. How do you capture email addresses, or what is the mode on Amazon to get repeat sellers? I know that they do have like subscriptions that you can set up on Amazon, but tell me a little bit about what you would do to build kind of like lifetime value for customers.
Yeah, there's a couple ways. And the first thing to remember is that if you're selling on Amazon, they are Amazon's customers. They're not your customers. Yeah. And it's just like Target. Like Target's not going to give you the email addresses and home, phone numbers of all the people who bought your product from Target. That's never going to happen. Amazon does give you some demographic data. You can use tools like Feedback 5 to automate a customized email to customers who purchase your product. And that creates a touch point, right? It creates a place where you can put in your logo, you can say, who the email is from, and you can ask for a product review or provide information such as unboxing, assembly, product use. Here's how to get the most out of your product, right? that can help personalize that a little bit. And again, put the brand in the customer's mind. A product insert can also be really valuable. Again, keeping the customer on Amazon. You're never supposed to say, hey, here's a coupon code for our website, try to direct them off. That's a great way to get suspended and never be able to sell on Amazon again. So if you can provide value, though, you can do those little things that create touch points. And then from a marketing standpoint, you can do FBA subscribe and save, which I think is what you were referring to. Mm-hmm. And Amazon also has opportunities to offer coupon codes and retargeting to past customers. So from an advertising standpoint and a coupon discount standpoint, you can retarget people who have either looked at your product in the past or purchased your product in the past to kind of keep that life cycle going. But yeah, lifetime value is really important.
Okay, so a couple of questions here. First of all, how did you like actually get into specifically doing Amazon stuff? Like, why that of all things?
So when I was doing web design, like I said, the first company that we worked with, I dove in, had no idea what I was doing. I have one product that I sell on Amazon. I won't say what it is, but I have one product that I sell on Amazon, still sell on Amazon. And, it was this aspect of, it was such a complicated platform. And this is something like high level to remember. Amazon's goal is to be the most consumer-centric company in the world. And that means by default that they are not the most seller-centric. So if you're a customer and you order something from Amazon and have a problem, you're going to get unparalleled customer service. You had a problem. Oh, we're going to take it back for free and we're going to issue a refund or we're going to send you a replacement. If you're a seller and have that problem, it's like good luck trying to get through to seller support. Amazon will suppress your listings. A customer complains about something and they shut your listing down. Like this is just sort of the normal way of Amazon. And so it's 10 times more challenging as a seller. And I just discovered as I was going through this process of cleaning up this account, that there were so many things that I wished I knew when I started that process. And I just started writing them down. And so I created like an Amazon Bible. And at some point I decided, you know what? I wrote an article. I had a company read the article, reach out to me. Hey, can you do consulting? I'm having the same problem. Can you help me fix this problem? And as I did this more and more, I just realized there are so many companies out there who need this. And a good colleague of mine basically said, I think there's something to this Amazon thing. And of course he was right. And I built out what started as like an online webinar to now a full modular video course that anybody can enroll in and get access to and watch, all the 40 lessons that we have to help keep companies do that successfully. But the process began with me doing this work for other clients and running into problems, figuring out a solution, and then putting that into the course. And so it's just been this wash, rinse, repeat cycle. And I spend a significant amount of time every week learning and partnering and collaborating with the best of the best when it comes to advertising or listing optimization or emails, whatever aspect of Amazon exists. I'm working with those people so that I can increase my education, figure out the most important pieces for a brand owner to know, and then turn around and put that in the course. So we update the course all the time. But that's kind of the process of how it got built, was realizing how big the platform was going to become, realizing how few good resources there were out there. And basically 5.5 years ago, I made the pivot. I shut the web design company down, went full-time into marketplace seller courses and the Amazon Brand Success Academy, which is our online course offering.
I definitely want to talk to you about that, because that's a whole other kind of ball of wax, like creating digital courses, selling it online, creating that stream of income. But before I move on to that, a couple of questions about Amazon. I mean, I personally, I have a love-hate relationship with Amazon because
we all do.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, Bezos has more money than God.
He's gone. He stepped down.
Yeah, right. He's in the office upstairs, and his eyeballs are still everywhere. And
he's only still like in every board meeting and has all the power still. But he stepped down. The symbol of Bezos is lessened.
Yeah, and
he's going to go play with rockets. Which if you were a multi-billionaire, you would too.
Yeah, that's great. Then Tim Cook and Elon Musk can Amazon packages to each other on the moon. Great, fantastic. But the main thing is that obviously the way that they treat the employers, the amount of waste that's generated, there's a whole thing with the way they contract the drivers as well.
Sure.
And all these people are probably going to be out of business as soon as drones, take over their jobs. And so all of this, and then of course, like the types of stuff that is created in China. And then, I mean, it's such the retail apocalypse has happened because of Amazon.
Right.
That said, I want my popcorn maker by Tuesday, so what can I say? I love it, but I also, feel bad about ordering from it. Okay, so that's my own.
Your rant over.
My rant is over. Thank you, everyone. But that said, there is money to be made on Amazon. There was a thing that people were doing a couple of years ago where they were creating products in China and selling them on Amazon. There's ways that you can sell your books on Amazon and do fairly well. Since you started and now, especially post-pandemic, how has your business changed? What are the things that you've seen evolve with how you do your business and how people sell on Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's gotten more advanced. And initially, I mean, when I started 10 years ago, you could put any product on Amazon and become super successful because there was no competition. Now you have the same problem that you do on Google looking for like email marketing advice. It's just a conglomerate of noise, and it's hard to sift through that noise to find out what's good information. So it's the same thing if you can look up a product on Amazon and it's like, oh my gosh, there's hundreds of choices. Amazon does a good job of, showing product reviews. And yes, there's product review manipulation, which Amazon is continually working to crack down on. But I think the other side of things, and I've studied a lot of innovative companies, there are challenges and maybe potential dark sides of the way Amazon operates. There are also potential downsides and dark sides of probably the way every company or industry operates, to put it in holistic perspective. It's not like everything was, rosy until Amazon came along. But you also have to consider the other aspect of it. There's a lot of things they're doing right. And there's a lot of ways that people benefit from the business, both as consumers, certainly. I mean, basically, when the pandemic hit, Amazon was like the go-to supply for like half the country, when it came to toilet paper and essentials. So, there was that aspect of it. The brands that I work with, they're able to leverage the platform in a way that's, I have clients now. One of my favorite and best clients, we worked with them last year to double their net revenue from Amazon from 1 million to 2 million. And they're now hiring people and building out a whole team to help accelerate Amazon growth, whereas other companies are stuck in a pandemic world and laying people off. So you can't argue that it's all good or all bad. It's a company. There's good and bad sides of things. The question is, how can you navigate it successfully? And I think that's the aspect. That's what we try to teach people how to do. And if you have an established brand and there's Me Too's and copycats and stuff, and people, bringing in cheaper products from China, trying to undercut maybe intellectual property or product design that you've created, we teach those brand owners how to protect that and retain that so that people are willing to spend more and buy into the higher brand equity in order to keep some of that revenue maybe on U.S. soil, for example.
Yeah, how do you do that? Like if somebody does come up with a copycat for something, in fact, I just heard this story where I read this article about fast fashion and how, and that's a whole other thing. But Kim Kardashian held up was doing a live stream and she held up a dress and she said something to the effect of, "Please, can I at least wear this before there's a copycat of it out there?" And like the very next day, there was a copycat. So
didn't take long.
Yeah, and then I've heard stories where Amazon will actually, if there's a popular product, they'll make it themselves and compete against sellers, which is that's kind of bananas. But so how does someone protect themselves against something like that?
The most important thing a brand owner can do on Amazon, the most important thing you have is brand equity. That is a customer's perceived value of your brand or product. And the most important thing to do is build brand equity. And the easiest thing that you can do on Amazon is to lose brand equity. And so we look at the main ways to build it is number one, your listing optimization. Your listing tells a lot about the company, about the brand. And that's everything from the copy, the way you talk about the product, to the lifestyle photography, and most importantly, the brand story. What is the brand story? And this goes back to like Simon Sinek, start with why. What was the purpose of creating the brand? And we're in a millennial driven generation now where they really care. Consumers care about the purpose behind the brand. Is it eco-friendly? I'm working with a company now. They make tents on Amazon, and they've got this incredible component of their company that's eco-friendly, and that's going to drive sales. If we find a way to incorporate that into the listing, into the images, and even the videos, we can tell that brand story that will create an emotional connection with customers and go, wow, I want to buy from this company. I know it's $20 more than the other one that I just looked at, that the English wasn't even spelled correctly, and there was like obvious grammatical typos and errors, and they basically just wanted to sell a product and make money. Like, yes, they can do that, but if you can build that brand equity, it's going to be in the listing optimization, it's going to be in the price, it's going to be in the customer experience. So like I said, those follow-up emails, product inserts, the customer service, if they happen to reach out to you, all of those things you can do to build around your brand equity. And the last piece on top of that is advertising. So for my client who I just got started with like last week, they had basically not been doing anything on Amazon, kind of ignored it. And all of their competitors were advertising on their brand terms. So if you type in their brand name, nothing but their competitors, come up. The first thing I did this afternoon was create and turn on all of their branded campaigns so that the second anybody searched those terms, they pop up. We're protecting the integrity of the brand. So it's definitely possible. It requires a lot of work, and a lot of it is very nuanced. And yet people will buy the cheaper products that have, thousands of reviews. But you can do it. It's very, very possible.
See,
so do you have is there like a brand page? I mean, like on Amazon, do you create like a brand page for the products? Because I mean, maybe I just don't shop enough on Amazon, but like on certain products, is there actually like a page where you're telling your story and showing videos about the brand, or are you sending them to your website when you're saying this?
Yeah, so there's two parts of Amazon that would do this. One is the detail page. So if you're on a product detail page, if you scroll down, you have the opportunity to create what's called A+ content. And that's where you have this ability to build out graphics and text and put founder stories. And in fact, Amazon's just updated this like the last couple of weeks, where you can actually say, add your brand story to all of your products, right? So it's really cool, this way that you could sort of do that on the detail page. If they click on your brand, that will actually take them to a storefront. It's on Amazon. It's hosted on Amazon, but it's your brand's Amazon storefront, where you can basically have a copy of your website, right? You've got your different product pages, you can shop, and it's all geared around Amazon. And of course, Amazon is doing this to make more money, but it does create an opportunity for a brand to retain and build brand equity within the Amazon platform, to add video, to add imagery, and to add a story that differentiates them from the Me Too's and from the copycats.
And I think I mean, it's brilliant on Amazon's part, but I think it's kind of a gray area as far as morality goes to, first of all, provide the marketplace, yes, but then if you want to rise above your competitors, then you have to go through their ad cam platform and give them more money to just have a level playing field. And it's just, again, it's one of those things that I'm kind of like, oh, God.
Sounds like capitalism to me.
But think about this, and this is actually where it's really beneficial. This is where Google became a game changer. And I was listening to a podcast on Freakonomics the other day talking about advertising. They're like, well, we know TV advertising works because companies spend billions on it. And you're like, okay, but is that a good logical rationale? With Amazon, you've got a closed system, and Amazon really is the most trusted brand in America. I mean, they've earned that top spot over the last year, really beating out Disney. Okay. And that's huge.
Wow.
There is a high, insane level of trust, and it's a closed system.
Well, after what Disney did to Star Wars, they have no trust in that. I mean,
that's a good point.
They did bring out Disney Plus just in time for the pandemic, and with 2 kids, that was a huge plus. So I think there's a little bit of redemption.
WandaVision has been good, so
I couldn't get past the trailer, but the whole point is, it's a closed system. Amazon has my credit card. They've got my address. They have my trust. If I have any problems, I know I'm going to get the product in 2 days. And if I have any problems, Amazon's going to take it back for free, typically. So the advertising dollars that you will spend on Amazon dollar for dollar is probably going to be the best ROAS you're ever going to spend in marketing. Your typical conversion rate on a website, what, 1.5%, 2.5%, 3.5% if it's amazing. Amazon, our average, if you're just kind of like basic listing, 5 to 10%, 5 to 10% conversion rate. If you're optimized, 10 to 15%. If you've got an Amazon choice or a bestseller badge, 15 to 20% conversion rate. You're not going to get that anywhere else. And it's because of that closed loop system. If I run an ad, I can track exactly where that purchase cycle comes through, and I can know exactly what my return on investment is. And there's a piece that we didn't talk about yet that I'll want to dive into, and that is the flywheel concept, because I think that is actually the critical defining piece of Amazon as a whole. So again, I'm letting you guys drive. Just let me know where you want to go next.
No, this is this is
go
great.
ahead. Talk about it.
Please do.
So this is a piece that, again, people overcomplicate the platform. Amazon's so complicated. It is a complicated platform, but it shouldn't be difficult to understand. Success on Amazon is organically ranking for your product's top keywords. Okay. So the generic keywords that describe your product, to be able to organically rank in the top 3 spots, which typically get 66% of the clicks, that's success. Because once you can do that, it's a recurring cycle, right? I rank organically in the top 3, therefore I get a majority of the clicks, therefore I get a majority of the sales for that keyword, therefore I retain my top 3 ranking. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so there's this.
Tell me a little bit about the search ranking system. So, are we just talking about keyword cramming? Are we talking about, does there some sort of an algorithm that's reading through the text, kind of like in Google's doing these days with RankBrain? Tell me a little bit about how you rank for certain keywords versus the competition. Like what are we looking at in terms of what it takes?
Yeah. So we're decades away from the Google, like just keyword stuff. You'll be good. So I coined a term I call the Amazon trifecta, and the trifecta is discoverability plus buyability equals rankability. Okay, so discoverability plus buyability equals rankability. And here's how it works. Discoverability is SEO. It's SEO keyword research. What are the keywords that I've researched for my product that I know customers are searching for where my product is a relevant solution, right? So where I'm looking for the most highly searched relevant keywords related to my product, I'm going to incorporate those into my listing, right? So that Amazon's A9 search algorithm can index it and know, hey, Shannon's product is relevant when the customer searches this term. Okay, that's just indexed. It doesn't mean that I'm going to rank for it yet, right? The second piece is buyability. This is my detail page listing optimization. It's optimizing your title, not just including the product information, but a unique value proposition, for example. Made in the USA is a huge one, for example, that my clients will use. But a unique value proposition, really telling a story with those images, the infographics, the lifestyle photos, the way you write the copy, the A+ content that I mentioned later, that's going to determine your conversion rate, right? The number of people who go to the detail page and buy. And your discoverability plus buyability will equal your rankability. So if I sell a gluten-free cookie and I've done the keyword research and I've included that term in my listing, primarily in the title, but also throughout the listing, a customer searches for gluten-free cookie, my listing pops up and they go, oh my God, I want this, and buy it. Guess what? My product is going to increase in organic rank for the keyword term gluten-free cookie. Okay. So that's how the process of discoverability and rankability works. The key that you mentioned, Andros, is advertising. If I'm launching a new product, a new brand, and I have no reviews, Amazon's going to index me for that keyword, but I'm going to be on page 17. The key is I can advertise that product for that specific term, gluten-free cookies, and show up right at the top above competitors if I'm willing to pay that, high cost per click, to get there. But as I do, if people convert, if they don't convert, I'll actually decrease in ranking. But if people convert for that keyword, Amazon's going to say, we can make more money the higher we show this product in search because people like this product over others. The key to remember is 60% of Amazon customers who search don't even know the difference between a sponsored listing or an organic listing. Amazon does it same way Google does, like very small, like size 8 font, light gray, sponsored. So customers search, They look at the top listings and they click on one thinking, this is the best. Amazon's giving me the best options. Now, obviously with advertising, they don't just give it to the company that is willing to pay the most. They also look at things like conversion rate. But that's the whole flywheel effect. And if you can activate and trigger the flywheel in the Amazon A9 algorithm so that your products organically rank for your product's top keywords, it's like a landslide victory. You know, to
you're saying
get
you
up
could
to that top
basically
spot.
you could basically buy your organic ranking, because if you're buying these keywords and they're converting, that's going to actually increase your organic ranking too. Am I getting that right?
That's absolutely true. And that's what's different. If you spend, $1 million driving Google ad traffic to your website, you can do $1 million in sales, but the second you turn it off, you're not like you're
one.
Exactly. With Amazon, we can accelerate that flywheel. And I work with a company that sells products where we're going after longer tail SEO search terms. Okay, so lower volume, but longer tail. And we found we only needed to advertise for the first 3 months to launch the product, get up there, and then we could back off the advertising. In some cases, we could turn it off because we were there.
What kind of long tail are you talking about? I mean, like when you mentioned earlier, like do people search like eco-friendly and when they're next to a product? Maybe is that like a longer tail keyword this one might search, or what are some like examples of longer tail keywords? Or
and on top of that,
clothing?
where do you find that data to know which long tail keywords work best?
Oh, good point.
Helium 10. So Helium 10 is the keyword research tool that we use, and it allows you to not only do reverse ASIN lookup, so I can actually put in my competitor's product and see all the keywords that they're ranking for.
Nice.
I can also then do keyword research and say, okay, I've got this gluten-free cookie. What else are people searching for? They're searching for healthy cookies. They're searching for healthy cookies for kids. They're searching for snacks for kids. They're searching for dairy-free cookies for kids. And so the first aspect is actually, we have kind of a process that we walk people through in the courses for, but what are all the uses of your product? Who's the target audience that the product is for? What does the product do? What problem does it solve? And then you can take all of those search terms, and this is actually something I learned from another company, is you can use a resource called MergeWords. So mergewords.com is just a free website. But we're actually going to take our keywords, our primary keywords, and look up all the synonyms. And then we're going to advertise not just on the main keywords, but on the synonyms. Okay. So for example, if I'm looking for gluten-free cookies for kids, well, all of a sudden I've got 3 or 4 or 5 search terms. What about gluten-free cookies for toddlers? What about gluten-free cookies for children? Okay, those are all synonyms, just very simple, keyword changes that I can make. And maybe we see that there's search volume for the gluten-free cookies for kids, but not for children. It doesn't mean nobody's searching for it. It usually just means the search volume is super low, but it also means my cost per click is going to be really low. And what I tell companies when we start doing listing optimization, we dive heavy into the SEO keyword research, because I tell people over and over again, this is where the money is. If you're willing to outwork your competitors, you can make more money because you're able to determine all the keywords that they're not, that you can go after. And Justin, to your point, you can't buy organic ranking, because remember, those competitors who you're competing against for organic ranking, they're also buying ads. There's a reason they got there. And if they're ahead of you and have 20 reviews, 100 reviews, 1,000 reviews, Amazon's going to be selective about when and where they show your ad compared to a competitor. So it does get very competitive, but if you can figure out what's most important and, figure out, are you on a growth strategy? Are you on a profitability strategy? You can make determinations. Every brand's goal on Amazon isn't going to be the same. Some people just want to do basic brand equity protection. Like, I just don't want a bunch of resellers on my, listing selling expired product. But it is the thing that makes Amazon different, and they're quickly becoming the trifecta. I mean, now it's Google, Facebook, and Amazon.
Yeah.
Now, would you say that a brand that comes on there and refuses to do ads because they think that they're going to do okay without them, are they just like out of luck? I mean, are they going to be fighting like an uphill battle and pretty much have no chance now? Or are there brands that come on there, don't run ads, and still have success?
Yeah, you're going to have a really hard time. And I think the key is, what makes a product successful on Amazon? It's like, well, what's the level of competition? What's the value, the cost of the product? How bad do people need this product, And remember, if you've got a product that's super expensive, somebody else can come along and sell a cheaper version. And if you're not willing to advertise, I bet you they are. So there is an aspect where companies can rely to an extent on their outside brand awareness. So I use SEMrush to do sort of like, okay, I'm working with a company. What's the general monthly search volume for this brand as a whole? How much brand equity they have? And the more off Amazon brand equity you have, the easier it is to launch on Amazon, because 65% of all product searches start on Amazon. So if a customer hears about a product in a podcast, for example, the first thing over half of them are going to do is go to Amazon and type it in, right? And the key is, and I have, past clients, not current clients, but past clients who refuse to advertise their own brand name, even, for example. And they say, no, I don't want to pay because I organically rank for my brand name. So why would I want somebody to accidentally click on my ad when they can just scroll down? And the reason is because your competitors are going to bid on your brand name, and because your customers or your potential customers are not as loyal as you think they are. So you think, oh, my customers would never buy a competitor product. They would only buy my brand, right? It's a little narcissistic. And the reason we kind of go through this process is, if we're working with a brand, we'll actually set up 3-tier level of advertising: branded for protection, generic, which compromises about 80% of those unbranded generic searches that come into Amazon. People are just looking for a product to solve their problem, not with a brand attached. And then once we've sort of dominated those first two, then we go into competitor. Now we're actually advertising on our competitors' brand names, our competitors' product lines, advertising on our competitors' products. Why? Because it works. So if it works for us to advertise on our competitors, of course we have to start with that branded. Otherwise, you're not protecting your most valuable property.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I thinking about just the way I buy stuff, a lot of times, if I just want to find out about a product, I'll just go to Amazon to read the reviews, so just to see like what, how and some of my buying decisions, even if I don't buy it on Amazon, come from just how it's positioned. So I totally understand that. I got a different question here, because as I mentioned, there was this trend where people were finding like products on Amazon and then doing some modifications or putting their own brand on something, finding some place in China and then selling it on Amazon to get it drop shipped. Is that still an option for people? Like, let's say somebody says, I want to make money doing an Amazon business. I just want to find a product. And then how does someone go about that if they just want to do like that as kind of a passive income or a different type of business? How does that work?
So exclusivity is the key. I was actually having a conversation with a friend of mine this morning because she wants to kick off an Amazon storefront. And she said, how profitable can this be? What can I do? And I said, look, really, if you want to make money selling on Amazon, go find a brand that's not selling on Amazon and say, let me be your exclusive Amazon distributor. And I'll do all the listing optimization. I'll run the advertising. And all you got to do is sell me product at a wholesale price so I can fulfill it. That exclusivity is actually what gives you the true opportunity. So if you think about it from this standpoint, there are dozens of tools out there that tell you the top selling products and what the margins are and where there's opportunity and where there's low competition, so that you can find your miracle product that's going to make you a 7-figure seller. And the easier it is for you to knock off somebody else's product, the easier it is for someone else to knock off yours. And I've heard stories. There's a guy, Tim, who runs Private Label Legion. He talks about, I think it was like some kind of a dicer, the little vegetable dicers that you hammer down on and, cuts all your vegetables. He's like, so I ordered mine, I put it up on Amazon and, listed at $15.95. And a week later, there was 2 other ones that were listed at $14.95. And then a week later, there was like 5 more. And literally it's like the same product, probably ordered from the same exact manufacturer. The factory doesn't care. They'll sell it to anybody. Like, you want your brand name on it? Sure. You want your brand name on it? No problem. And Ken Greenlee, who runs Upgraded Images in Pasadena, they're our go-to for product photography. He said, Shannon, you would not believe it. We'll get like a wave of one type of product, and we're literally photographing the same product with a different, private label name slapped on it. Like, and we'll photograph 50 of them. And he's like, we just get so sick of like photographing the same thing over and over and over again. And those guys are all going to compete on Amazon for the same market share.
As you say, they should take the same photo and then just like kind of sub out the logo and like, send it over to both brands.
The way I look at it is there are imitators and there are innovators, and I primarily work with innovators, people who created a product because they saw a need and really wanted to add value. Again, that was purpose driven. A lot of times, most of my clients were looking to solve a problem for themselves. Maybe they were lactose intolerant. Maybe they, had to do a keto diet or, gluten-free, whatever. And they said, I couldn't find anything out there, so I created this product for me. In other cases, they inherited maybe it's a family business. And of course, if you can truly add value, then great. But it's not enough just to say like, oh, this is a top selling product, I'm just going to knock it off and make a couple small changes. When your goal is to make money, I've seen way more people fail than succeed. And in fact, we were at a conference and all of the Amazon consultants were kind of joking, but we were saying that FBA stood for failed businesses on Amazon because of how many people got into it with a get rich quick mindset and didn't realize that there was a lot of work that went into it of actually running a business. And so, yeah, it's out there, but the opportunity is like, you're going to get hammered. There's just so much competition now.
It's funny that you mentioned that the real money is actually just helping other businesses, sell their stuff on Amazon. There's not a local Amazon here in the Netherlands. We have their competitor is called bol.com, and you can get order stuff on Amazon through Amazon Germany, which is right next door. But Amazon's been trying to get in here to the Netherlands for years, and they haven't been able to yet. But as soon as they do, I have often thought that's the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pivot. And then there's so many businesses that I'll be like, Amazon?
If you can be the first mover, if you can be the first one on there, sure.
I'm waiting for that announcement. And as soon as it is,
you should go like start your business and have like the website ready right now. And then you just sort of turn it on as soon as they open up.
Have your listings optimized and ready. Yeah.
I got a question, Shannon, though. Because we haven't really talked about reviews yet. I want to talk a little bit more about reviews. Like, how do you get your customers that buy to leave them, or how do you encourage them to leave them more? How do you manage a bad review? Like, talk a little bit about reviews as far as branding goes and how you handle that with Amazon, or also, like, is there a way to encourage them to leave keyword rich reviews or things like that? Does that matter?
Yeah, it's called manipulation, and it's not recommended. It's not recommended.
Not recommended. Yes.
The aspect of it for me, because I work closely with a lot of people at Amazon, and have good relationships with category managers and stuff. And I also have a reputation to maintain, and I believe that, just aside from just generally being ethical, if you don't want to abide by Amazon's terms of service, don't sign them, don't agree to them, and don't sell on their platform. Go sell somewhere else. But reviews is key. In fact, I was just updating our course on reviews a couple weeks ago. And there's this process of, in order to get good reviews and in order to get more reviews, you have to have a couple pieces in place. First, you have to be, again, sort of infrastructure defensive. Make sure that your products don't have manufacturer defects. Make sure that the shipping boxes that you're using are good enough so that people aren't getting products that arrive broken just because they manhandled them a little bit, for coming from the warehouse. There's those sort of preventative aspects. I did mention Feedback 5, which is our preferred tool to send an automated feedback email to the customers. The challenge is you have maybe 30% of customers who opted out to not receive those emails. And then based on that, you're lucky to get maybe a 25 to 28% open rate of people who, open those emails, but they're still valuable to have a customer touch point. And we find that even if somebody doesn't immediately leave a review, if they have a problem with the product or something that came up or a question, maybe they will more likely than not go back to that email as a touch point and respond to it, because we'll see that in the message. We'll see their response. We'll see the original message to them before that. They'll say, hey, I had a problem with my product. I assembled it and, it was missing this piece or whatever. So just having that customer touch point is a really important, way to do it.
That prevents them going directly and leaving a 1-star review. It kind of gives them a little buffer.
Absolutely. It's just saying, hey, we're here if you need us. If you have questions,
that's a great point,
you
because
know,
I actually, this is exactly what happened to me. I got a pair of headphones. In fact, these very headphones that I'm wearing right now, through an Amazon seller. I went through the reviews, and then when I got the headphones, as soon as I put them on, I twisted it a little bit and it broke. And
Right.
so they first sent me an email that's like, "Hey, did you like your shipment?" And I did respond to that email. Rather than going through Amazon, because I knew that would be a drag. And they sent me a brand new pair, like immediately. And they were like, let me know if there's any problems. And I was like, wow. And then they asked me, would you be willing to leave a good review? I was like, sure, I would. And someday I might. But
yeah. And that's a key aspect. Like, how you ask is really critical. You can ask people to leave a product review. You can't ask them to leave a positive product review, right? So there's all these aspects of, like, you can even ask people to leave a product review, but you can't exclusively ask people to leave a product review who you know had a good experience. There's ways to kind of look at it holistically, but the other aspect is you can put in a product insert. Again, Amazon's going to open these and read these, so don't try to, sort of bypass their terms of service. Like, everything in a product insert should match the same criteria as an email that is going through Amazon systems that they're scanning and looking at, right? If you violate Amazon's terms of service, they're going to restrict you from buyer-seller messaging for life, basically. It's not a good position to be in. So you can include a product review insert card. And I actually have a mini course that we offer that it shows brands how to do a scannable QR code, because Amazon's app, and you kind of mentioned this earlier, they have a QR code scanner and a barcode scanner. So if somebody gets a product and they've got a postcard in there that says, hey, use your Amazon app to scan this barcode, and we're going to take you right to a video on Amazon. Again, keep it in line with Amazon TOS, and show you how to assemble your product. And then on the back side of that postcard says, hey, we'd love it if you would take 30 seconds to leave a review. And all you got to do is scan this QR code with your Amazon app. Boom, boom. It makes it really simple. It's consumer centric. And there's an aspect that we call customer pre-service, which means answering the customer's questions before they ask. So as you do this whole process, and what we kind of refer to holistically as the Amazon flywheel is optimize, launch, and analyze, right? We optimize our listings, we launch by driving targeted traffic, then we analyze the results. We recommend going through your customer questions, because customers can ask a question that show up on your page and show your response, and going through the product reviews and even your return reports where they say, oh, I'm returning this, I didn't like XYZ, whatever. And saying, what are the common themes that customers are having problems with? What do they not understand? And we find 90% of the time you can be proactive and make a change on the detail page. Maybe it's including an infographic that shows them the assembly process. In one case, we had a client, Click Belts, that has this amazing belt, but people were threading it in backwards. We added a 30-second video on the detail page, and that we included in the feedback email that said, hey, when you get your belt, here's how to thread it through. And immediately returns went down, negative reviews went down, sales went up, okay? It's proactivity, and it's continuing to go through that process of optimize, launch, analyze, and saying, okay, where are we getting bad reviews? Why are we getting bad reviews? What structural changes can we make to make it better? And again, you got to make sure that you're going to get good reviews by offering a good product and making sure the customer has a good experience, and then just asking for more. But there is something that Amazon, because they're so consumer centric, they do force brands to fall in line with that consumer centric nature and hold them to it. It's not always in the best interest of the brand, because sometimes it can be expensive, but I bet you enjoyed getting that free pair of headphones replaced immediately. That would not be the case if you bought the product on Walmart.
Yeah, for sure.
50 bucks.
And I, if anybody asks, this is the set that I would recommend to people because of that experience. Also, just mentioning as you were talking about it, it's like it's interesting because built into the system is the whole market research aspect of it. I worked for a cosmetics company for a while, and one of the things that they were saying is like, well, we're not sure who's really buying our products, and they wouldn't do Amazon. They wanted to sell directly. But I asked them specifically if they would do a do some sort of thing with, oh, I just lost my camera. If they would do some sort of, market research, and they just refused. So it's not good to do that. So yeah, definitely using the market research aspect of it. I wanna switch gears just a little bit and ask you about the course, which is the because you're offering this course, the Amazon sellers course. Can you talk a little bit about that and what it is? I have it up on the screen right now.
Yeah, so we've branded it the Amazon Brand Success Academy, and the idea under the umbrella of marketplace seller courses, we may eventually come out with courses for eBay, Walmart, etc. So the primary course offering at this point certainly is Amazon, but the Amazon Brand Success Academy is designed to be the one-stop shop for any brand owner. Like I said, whether they're emerging, just getting started, or high level wanting to take Amazon in-house, to understand the key essential aspects to launch, grow, and protect their brands. And I cover everything. I mean, until somebody proves me wrong, I don't think there is a more holistic course on Amazon. And I keep updating it. So even if somebody starts today, they're going to, have to work hard to catch up. But we cover everything from storefront setup, listing optimization, the customer service pieces, infrastructure, fulfillment. So merchant fulfillment and FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. We cover things like suspension prevention and reinstatement, distribution enforcement, which is really key for brands, and even things like flat file templates. Like, how do you create a parentage of products so that people can, be on my lip gloss and like select between the different colors? So there's just these really complicated, ever evolving pieces of Amazon. And we put it all into a course, and we made a pricing shift this year. In January, we went to monthly. So it used to be $1,000 course, sort of, upfront. But we knew the challenges of COVID, and also just any emerging brand. That's a lot up front of cash when they're not sure exactly how effective Amazon's going to be. For $97 a month, you can get access. And right now we're offering the ability to get a second employee of the company for free. So 2 licenses for $100, you can start taking that, learning the strategies, the tools, the resources, and applying it. The course should pay for itself. I mean, that's the beauty and the benefit of it. And these are the same exact strategies that I've helped my clients. Last year, a majority of our clients did 200 to 400% increase on Amazon just by using these basic principles. There's just so many nuances that nobody else has really had the discipline and time and effort to cover all of the aspects of Amazon to really help a brand become successful.
So did you say that you used to do, so you shifted it to monthly? You used to just only do annual contracts for this?
It wasn't even annual. It was like one time, sort of like
lifetime?
one-time fee, lifetime access. And we just knew that the price point made sense for both sides. So if they stay enrolled for 3 or 4 years, they're going to get 3 or 4 years of value. And so as a company, we're going to be able to, it's going to support those ongoing updates. But it also makes more sense for them because the monthly cost is much lower than that one-time fee.
And your customers have reacted well to that, so things have gone well with the course.
Oh, it's huge. We had people who were like, "Yeah, it was just cost prohibitive to do that $1,000 a month, but for $97 a month, I can enroll tomorrow. That's like a no-brainer."
Awesome.
And we're even allowing and offering it for agencies to be able to train their employees and hires, because there isn't any standardized way to train for Amazon. So basically, kind of give you a high level overview. There's 6 courses within the academy. There's a breakdown of about 40 lessons, sort of 30 lessons in multiple parts. But every lesson starts with a strategy training video. And this is the piece that a lot of people miss. People can tell you how to send your products into FBA, but they don't tell you when or how or what the pricing should be. Like, nobody covers the strategy around that. So every lesson starts with a strategy training video. And then it's followed by action steps. So we're now telling you, I just gave you the strategy. Here's what you do next. It takes all the complexity and overwhelm out of it of like, oh my God, I'm selling on Amazon. I have no idea where to start. You just go through the courses and the lessons one at a time, go through the action steps. Then we've got resources. So some of those are webinars or podcasts or articles. Some of them are third-party tools, like I mentioned, for feedback emails or refunds, et cetera. And then we have a Q&A section inside the course, plus a private Facebook group. So now you get like help with questions that you can get answered, not just throwing it out to the ecosphere. And if you go on those forums, you'll see that there's a lot of like sketchy answers. You're like, how does this person even know what they're talking about? Is this in line with Amazon policy, right? Who are you actually getting advice from? And so this is going to come from me or somebody on my team. And the last part of it is video tips, and that's over the shoulder training, where I'm actually going to show you how to implement the thing I just told you to do. So it's literally like everything in one place, your one-stop shop to successfully launch, grow, and protect your brand on Amazon.
And that can be found at marketplacesellercourses.com. We'll put a link down in the podcast. Because I mean, it sounds like you really have the entire thing sort of covered, and we're creeping up to the end of the show, but I before we go there, I just want to switch gears just a little bit and talk about the actual selling of the course itself, as far as like a passive income stream. One of my goals for this year is to set something up like that myself and have some sort of passive income stream like that. What was that process like, putting that class together? What do you use? How do you get people to go to get that? And what's the kind of the funnel that you're using to sell that course?
So we actually use ClickFunnels, which is funny because you guys had a ClickFunnels interview. I think that was one of the ones that I had enjoyed listening to.
We had the CEO, who I didn't realize had transitioned to the CEO role until like into the interview.
I recall. So we use ClickFunnels for the sales aspects of it. But again, just like the journey of a brand on Amazon, my background is consulting, doing one-on-one consulting. Moving from one-on-one consulting to scaling to sell a course online are two completely different skill sets and completely different resources that I needed to have at my disposal. So it really came down to having a clear understanding of what people's pain points were, understanding how to talk to them, and Donald Miller's Building Your Brand Story is one of my favorite books. It really brought a lot of clarity to like how I talk to people, because I could do it on the phone. I didn't know how to write it on a landing page. It's a different skill. And so for me, it was understanding how to really target and identify my audience to hit the main pain points that they feel, and basically say, look, I'm going to be your guide. I'm going to help you through this, and I'm going to help you avoid failure and achieve success. And we basically mapped it out. I think previously we'd give people the runaround. It was like, okay, so you're on our website. Why don't you follow us on social media? They'd be on social media. Hey, you should check out our podcast. On the podcast, hey, why don't you check out our website? And it was like this sort of endless cycle that didn't do anybody any good or any value. Now, following sort of the brand story format, you go to the homepage of the website and it's like, here's our courses. Our goal is to make selling on Amazon simple. Enroll now. It's that simple. And so a lot of it just came down to that clarity of message. But we have a free Amazon masterclass now for people who don't want to spend money, but they want to learn a little bit more. Brilliant. Sign up for the free masterclass. It'll be the best 90 minutes you've ever spent learning about Amazon in your life. And if you enroll in the courses at the end of it, it's going to be even more so. And then just for people who want a high level, understanding of what are the things I need to do on Amazon, we have a $20 checklist, right? So it's a great lead gen, and it's a really simple, low cost, effective way to build trust with your audience and say, I'm going to give you something of value in exchange for money. And if you want to take it to the next level, here's the next offering that I have. So it was really just creating clarity for me in terms of the funnel so that I understood it, so that I could then make it clear to my audience.
And
now, is the course itself, is it built in ClickFunnels too, or is the course itself built in a different platform? I see the landing pages are built in ClickFunnels.
Yeah, it's hosted in Thinkific, which I love. So we basically use Zapier to do the integration. You sign up in ClickFunnels and it transfers.
I do it all the time. I'm very familiar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I love that model. We kind of have everything hosted separately, but it just allows the scalability. I can make a change on a ClickFunnels page like in 2 seconds, and similarly on Thinkific. If Amazon makes a significant change, I can re-record that section of a lesson and upload it within half an hour, and then send an email blast out to everybody who's enrolled that says, hey, huge Amazon update, like this is important. And, to be able to get access to those kind of updates is really critical.
Yeah. And the reason I ask is because I don't think ClickFunnels Course Builder is quite up to, it's still decent. It's a nice little free thing or add-on, but it's not as good as Thinkific by far. Thinkific's much superior to the Course Builder inside of ClickFunnels, but the pages are amazing.
Yeah, the pages are great and it's drag and drop. And I just found a lot of flexibility. I mean, I can have everything from embedded third-party pages to graphics to text. I mean, anything I want to do, and it's all included in a monthly fee. So for me, that was a no-brainer. I love the fact that they host the videos on Wistia and I think the PDFs and stuff and embeds on S3. I was paying for those all separately previously. I moved to Thinkific and it basically cut my bill down.
And do you do any like outside advertising for the course itself? Is that like a separate sort of end of your business? Do you run Google ads and to get people to take that course?
Say it, Andre. Say the word Facebook. Say it.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. We're gonna be ramping up Facebook and a little bit of YouTube because again, search engine, right? Just like Amazon. So people are going to YouTube to solve a problem, and if we can get in front of our audience there. The main challenge with Facebook initially was audience confusion, right? So we'd offer an online course or a free masterclass for Amazon, and we get 1,000 people who signed up who are all interested in earning a little extra side income, okay, not our core audience. So we've had to step back, do a little revamp and rebranding so that we could make it very clear who the offering was for and be able to do a little demographic and psychographic analysis of who our key audience is so our advertising would be more effective.
That's interesting. It's advertising is just as much about like deterring or away the wrong people as it is about attracting the right people.
100%. 100%.
Well, we're coming up to we're basically at the end of the show. But where can people? Why don't you tell us again about the course, where people can find you if they have any questions?
Yeah, so marketplacesellercourses.com is the website. Longest URL ever. I will never start a company that long again, but marketplacesellercourses.com. I'm on LinkedIn, active on LinkedIn, and just joined Clubhouse. So you can follow me on LinkedIn or Clubhouse at Shannon Roddy, and love connecting with people, especially, again, brand owners who are excited to take their brand to the next level on Amazon.
Nice.
I'll definitely connect with you on Clubhouse if we're not already connected.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Well, great information. I'm so happy that you were able to be here and talk about it. But before we go, we always like to ask our guests, what are you geeky about right now? What's the thing that you're really into that may not be business related? Like, are you watching anything?
Yeah, sort of business related. I'm a movie guy, so I only watch movies, and I haven't found any good movies that came out recently in the last 6 years or so. So
yeah.
I watched Clint Eastwood, A Perfect World last night with Kevin Costner.
That's like the 90s.
But I geek out on innovation. And so even though it's side business related, I'm working on a book on innovation about how to build and create and sustain a culture of innovation. And so any business that I could look at, I kind of love the computer industry era. So, everything from like the Apple to Xerox PARC and all those. But I geek out on innovation like nobody's business. And if you get me started, I usually can't shut up. So it's going to be a long conversation.
Well, what are some movies you like? Because you said you're a geek of movies, but you haven't seen one in 6 years. So name a couple movies that you like so we get the
my sort of like all-time favorites, Crimson Tide with Denzel Washington.
That's good.
Definitely top favorite. A Perfect World is one of my favorite films. I just think it's super original. Like the characters, like it's not like any other movie, you've ever seen, but it just kind of depends. Like you've got comedies and, romantic comedies.
Anything more recent?
Favorite. This is sad. The last favorite movie that I saw in the theaters was Inception. That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Did you see Tenet yet? Have you seen Tenet yet?
I did see Tenet. I'm a huge Nolan fan.
Yeah.
I love it. And even after watching the 20-minute YouTube explainer video, I was like, huh?
I feel like, to me, like Tenet was so overly complicated and it did not need, just for the sake of like being overly complicated, it really didn't need to be as like that.
We just wanted to know where all the duplicates went. Like if you went back in time and then turned around and caught up to yourself, now there's two of you. And
what would happen if you fought each other?
Yeah.
Well, no, you're asking the wrong question. What I want to know is, what if you have sex with yourself? Is that?
Go watch Predestination, Andres. Go watch Predestination. You'll find out.
Well, here's what I want to know. Is it?
I want you to go watch Predestination.
I saw it. I saw it. But if I went back in time and had sex with myself, is it masturbation or is it homosexuality? I don't know. I'd be willing to try
Or is
that.
it something else entirely, or does it transcend everything?
Yeah, like what if that becomes my thing? You know, like I gotta, like I can only have sex.
Well, Andres, you are the philosopher on the show, so I don't know.
So far out of bounds. Anyways, the last good documentary I watched was Thai Cave Rescue, which was about the 12 soccer kids and their coach. So I do
Elon story with the submarine and all that, right?
Which one?
Isn't that the Elon Musk story where he tried to send over a submarine and then
No,
that's not the same story? Oh, it's not? Okay.
No, but
I thought that was the one.
It sounds like a very Musk thing to do.
But you remember that story? They were trying to rescue like 12 kids that were trapped in a cave. Elon Musk tried to send over a submarine to like go.
I believe it.
Yeah, and then he called the guy rescuing a pedophile. That was a whole like.
It was a whole nother story.
Elon
Okay, whole nother
Musk
story.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I lament the fact that there hasn't been good movies. I'm totally with you, but I have seen a few things that are decent recently. But mostly I've been reading a lot lately, and I am in the middle of reading Margaret Atwood's Mad Adam trilogy. So I just finished book 2. I'm in the middle of book 3 right now. It's one of the best post-apocalyptic stories ever. Margaret Atwood, of course, wrote Handmaid's Tale. Handmaid's Tale is a great show if you haven't seen it. That's kind of what I'm geeking out about right at this moment. Justin, what are you geeking out about?
Well, I mean, I mentioned earlier, I am watching WandaVision, and despite the trailer that you mentioned earlier, which is kind of a bizarre one, it's I actually quite like it. It takes about 4 episodes to really get into the story. The first 3 episodes could almost be like ignored, and you could just start on episode 4, or maybe get one of those 3 in the beginning, and then go to the episode 4.
This is the same way people encourage drinking. They're like, I know you won't like it at the beginning, but once you get to drink 4, then it'll be
drink
good.
4, drink 5, it's
when
awesome.
people try to encourage me to get to these things, like you won't like it at first, but keep trying it. I'm like, no,
until you can't feel your face. When you can't feel your face,
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of WandaVision now. But I'm with you though. I mean, we like innovative stuff, and the Fast and the Furious 25 is just not cutting it for me. So,
yeah. And
I did read Manhunt, the search for Abraham Lincoln's killer. That I couldn't put down. That was brilliant. A little gory.
That's not what I thought it was. Okay.
Understandably, but Manhunt, the search for Abraham Lincoln's killer. John Wilkes Booth was riveting.
I will definitely.
Interesting. How recent was that book written?
Well, my wife bought it for me for Christmas at Goodwill, so I'm sure it's not a new release.
An old one. Okay, interesting though. Okay,
a few years old, but a recent for me.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a real pleasure to have you. Shannon,
one last time, let's just say, if you want to learn Amazon as a business and want to sell, it's marketplacesellercourses.com. I mean, you've more than shown your expertise throughout our interview today. So anyone that really wants to learn this stuff, marketplacesellercourses.com, go check it out. Go get the course. $97 to get started. Very, very well worth it.
That's what you'll ever make. Yeah, you won't regret it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. And with that, we'll stop the live stream now. So
thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, see you all next time, everybody. And we're